What is up, everyone? This is Raylo from Raylo Vapes coming to you again today. Sorry again about taking another week off. It's been very busy around here, but I have a device review here for the brand new Gladiator, the Gladiator, or as it's also known, the UDT-V23 by Youde Technologies. This is their first 26650 mod. And right now I have it paired up with the IGO-W14, which I will also be reviewing in a later date, probably sometime this week, sometime next week. But I'll be discussing both. But for this review, we're only going to be discussing the Gladiator. So before I go any further into this, let's go ahead and go into up close mode, take this thing apart, show you how it's made, how the thing works, then we'll come back and talk about it. All right, you guys, this is actually take two. I, for some reason, had no sound in the first take. So here we go. Let's go into up close with the UDT-V23, the Gladiator. So here's the box. Same box as they put their atomizers in, except 10 times bigger because we're dealing with a much, much, much bigger device. Let's go ahead and take that out, and we'll take a look at the box. So it says here, UDT-V23 mod. It is 29.5 millimeters. It is 26650, 30 amp current endurance, bottom fire button, ultra low resistance, and 0 sparks. On the back, you got some information about UD, and then you got your little pamphlet here that I'll go over when we go back into regular mode. So let's go ahead and take an up close look at this big, beautiful stainless steel brass Glatiator mod. So as you can see, we have a brushed finish on the stainless steel. We have our top cap here, which has the airflow slots. If for some reason you were using a 510 that had airflow in it, which I don't see why you would. But let's go ahead and take this thing apart. So unscrew the button. Unscrew the top cap, take the battery out, and we got our tube. So we got our stainless steel tube, very nice threadings, very, very buttery smooth threadings. You have your laser etched UDT-V23 and of course the Glatiator. All right, here we got our top, and the way that these pins work, if you have not seen this before, we have our Delrin insulator and our brass top ring. We have stainless steel copper, copper, silver plated copper top pins, right? Right. So let me show you guys something here real quick. When you unscrew, of course, that's how you would adjust for battery rattle. You do have a little silver plated spring that goes in here. And my guess is that was to keep this from kind of back spinning on itself when you're screwing your battery on, or when you're screwing your button on. This was tending to spin without the spring in it, because I did take the spring out, because I'm not necessarily a huge fan of springs in here. But the spring is basically just to keep this a little bit stiffer, so that way it doesn't come loose on you. And of course that just screws right back in to the Delrin. And that's how you would adjust. Actually, I'll show you real quick. You would screw your addy on, and then, of course, get it so it's nice and flush, and then just screw this up until it makes contact, and now you are good to go. Now we got our button. Button here. We have our locking ring right here. You can see how smooth those threads are. Very, 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 very smooth. We got these little milled cutouts here, little accents, I guess. We have the bottom of the button where you have the Gladiator sword, where it says UDT-V23, and I'm probably blinding you guys, and UD product. So let's go ahead and take this button apart and show you the internals. So you can see here, this is just a cap. This is a gold-plated brass cap. that goes on here. That's what's making direct contact. You have your Delrin. You have your 3 little venting air holes right there. Button comes out. That's all it is. Got a nice fat spring here. Very, very stiff spring, but it does collapse, so every once in a while you got to take it out and stretch it. And then you got your button right here. So your button, you got this extra little fin, which I'm guessing sort of helps with heat reduction. Is my guess. Who knows? But that's the button. And the button, which you can't really tell because it looks flat here. Maybe if I do something like that. No, you can't really tell. But yeah, it's a little concaved. So kind of nice feel for your finger. And the way that this all goes back together is you have that little slot or a little channel, I guess you would call it, right there. Your spring slides right into that. Slide your button in, press it, take your little cap, and just screw the cap back on. One thing I would like to see is maybe like a slot in here, or like a Phillips like thing going on there, make it a little bit easier to do that. But anyways, that's how it works. And when you push the button, you can see the pin pops right up, makes contact with your battery, makes contact with your top pin, and boom, that's how you get your power to your atomizer. All right, so that's pretty much it. So we got brushed stainless steel, laser etching, your brass bottom, your brass top, copper plated silver, gold plated brass. Let's go ahead and show you how this thing goes back together. So screw the top back on, put battery in. Oh, this is not screwed in all the way here. There we go. And this just screws right back on there. And there you go. That is up close with the Gladiator. Okay, welcome to take 2 of coming back to this, because of course this section didn't have any volume either. So anyways, we're going to run through this again. Well, I'm going to run through it again. You guys are seeing it for the first time. So anyways, just came back from up close mode with the Gladiator. I did say that I was going to read the little instruction manual in this box. I put it in the wrong way. Now it doesn't want to come out. Get. I can't. I'm not going to break it. Anyways, we don't need to read it. It's basically just kind of giving you a rundown of what it is. I can just do that for you anyways by looking it up online. So what we got here is 304 food grade stainless steel and brass, 26650, double adjustable pins. They're silver plated copper. Height is 104 millimeters. Diameter is 29.5 millimeters. You have a bottom firing spring button, adjustable floating pin, pin in pin, which you saw. It's the 2 pins sticking together. I just do that. And the locking ring. So anyways, that's basically what that little pamphlet tells you. Kind of tells you how to put everything together, which you don't really need. I just showed you how to do that on camera. So you can just watch this and get all that information if you want. So anyways, let's go ahead and vape on it, show you how it performs. So as you can see, it performs really well. That was kind of cool. Yeah. Anyways, I'm a dork or whatever. But yeah, so you can see it fires really hard. In the first take of this, I tried to do a voltage drop test with my inline voltage meter. For some reason, it wasn't firing when I put the voltage drop meter on there. Not sure why, but it didn't work. Anyways, the voltage drop on this is pretty low. I would say probably somewhere in like the 0.4, 0.5 range with the 0.12 ohm resistance, 0.12. So really not that bad. With other devices I've used, especially because this is a stainless steel device, you normally do get a little bit more voltage drop with stainless steel than you would say with the straight brass or straight copper. But because this does have the really thick silver plated copper pins on the top and then the gold plated brass on the bottom, you're not really getting much voltage drop that I can tell. hits pretty hard. I mean, you could hear this thing firing, hopefully, maybe. But yeah, this thing fires really, really hard. Really nice design. You can see the recessed button. So nice flat button. Well, it's concaved for your finger, but the button itself will not fire. So you can put it down on the table. That was probably kind of loud. You could set it down on your table and it's not going to fire. Put it in your pocket. Just go ahead and lock it, and then nothing. So that's how that works. So as you saw in the up close, we have the stainless steel. It's all brushed. It looks really, really nice with the IGO-W14, which I will be reviewing later, as well as this little Vapetasia press fitted drip tip. Just kind of goes together all well. It's the same line, same brushed stainless steel look. Very, 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 very nice. So now that I've talked about it, you've seen the up close, let's go ahead and jump into the pros and the cons, what I like, what I dislike about it. So first off, the pros. I like doing pros first because there's really not too many cons that I can come up with this. So pros, 26,650. It is a nice, big, giant, fat mod. Really nice in the hand, especially with me. There we go. I'm 6'4". I have really huge hands, so this thing fits perfectly in my hand. And on top of that, you have the brass accent rings with all of the cutouts. So looks great. Everything, the design of it, the brushing goes all the way through, especially if you get the IGO-W14. So you have the same brushed stainless steel going all the way up. Just looks fantastic. Hits really, really hard. The low voltage drop, it's another pro in my opinion. Probably the best mod. Probably it is. This is the best mod that UD has ever come out with. And it just so happens to be a big giant 26,650 version of it. So let's see. What other pros do we got here? Pros. So nice solid brass top cap with your little airflow slots in here, which you'll probably never use, but hey, it's a pro if you do have that option to use both if you wanted to. Having the recess button, big pro for me. I'm really liking having recess buttons so I could set it down, not ever have to worry about it firing. I don't have to lock it all the time. If I don't want to, I only need to lock it if I'm putting it in my pocket, in my bag, or anything like that. And then having the reverse threading on the locking ring. So that's a big plus to me as well. The threading on this is buttery smooth. Everything on here just threads really, really nice. Very, very good machining. I like the look of it. I love the logo. That's a pro for me. The Gladiator mask. It says Gladiator right there. Love it. It's awesome. Now, let's talk about some cons. Because there are some. There's no device out there that has no cons. Everything's going to have a con. You can find something in everything. But the main con that I had with the Gladiator was the spring on the button here. It collapsed on me. It's a very hardy button, but when you're working with really low ohm resistance builds, sometimes the springs will fail. Not necessarily fail outright where they break or anything like that, but they sort of collapse under the heat and the stress that you're putting them on. So like you saw in the up close version, you can just take it apart and you just stretch the spring back out. Maybe give it a quick little cleaning every once in a while. I do that, once a week I'll go through and clean my more used devices just to keep them so they're working well and they're not going to mess up on me. But once I stretched out the spring, all the issues that I was having with it were gone. When it does fail, you will get a hot button, and sometimes you'll get a little bit of arcing around this area. So if that ever happens and you do have this device, all you got to do is stretch out the spring. It takes 2 minutes, if even that, a minute tops. So that's basically how you would combat that. The other con that I had was the spring in the top pin here. I don't know why it's there. I mean, I kind of get it that it's there to help prevent it from untwisting itself. Just seems like an extra part that wasn't needed. It's not really hurting the mod. It's not taking anything away from it. That's just one of my personal preferences. I don't really like having extra bits and pieces that don't seem necessary. That one just doesn't seem necessary to me. But those are really the only two cons that I had. And the biggest pro, to jump back into the pros because I completely forgot about, biggest pro, price point. This is an authentic device. This is not a clone. Buying the Gladiator, the UDT-V23, on the one website that I've gone on, which was trianglevape.com, $45. $45. That's all. $45 for an authentic, well-manufactured, well-machined, mixed metal with copper pins and silver-plated and gold-plated and all that stuff. $45. And that's on an American website. That's not some other like Chinese website that sells stuff for really cheap and you got to wait forever. This is an American website. $45. And they also have this exact combination other than the drip tip. So if you wanted to get the Glatiator and the IGO-W14, I believe it was $65. So for another $20, you get the authentic dripper with the authentic mod that were meant to go together for under $70. Are you kidding me? Like, that's a steal. You cannot find that deal anywhere on any other device that is an authentic, well-made, hard-hitting 26650 mod and dripper. Best price out there, hands down. So those are my pros and my cons. And I also went over the price point. So if you're wondering for your vape budget, it's $45. $45. I don't even know how to comprehend that, because there is no authentic, well-made 26650 mods out there for $45. And these just came out, I believe, early August. I think the IGO-W14 came out in July, like late July, and then the mod came out in early August. So they're out there. They're easy to find. There's plenty of them. There's none of that like, oh, we only made 200 of them. Like, no, these, you know, they're mass produced. They're everywhere. So my opinion, go out there, grab yourself this combination. If you're wondering about this, give me a week. I'll go ahead and do my review on this. But let's just say I love the IGO-W14 is a badass 26650 dripper. And if you're getting the Gladiator, you might as well just get the whole combination for $65. It's a great deal. $20 for this, $45 for the mod. Like, come on. You're not going to find a better deal. So that's my pros, my cons. That is all the information about the Gladiator. You've seen everything I could think of. If you do have any questions, of course, you can always ask me, and I'll answer them as soon as I find them or see them. Find them. They're on my channel. Of course, I'm going to find them. But as soon as I get to them, I'll answer them, normally within a couple days. Normally within a couple hours, typically. But whatever. I'm rambling now. So there you go. That was my review of the brand new Gladiator, or the UDT-V23 from Youde Technologies. It's a winner in my opinion, folks. So go out there, get your hands on it. You're really going to enjoy it. It is a great piece to add to the collection. Or if you're just thinking about getting into 26650 mods and atomizers, you want to go big, you want to have one of those big ones, but you don't feel like shelling out $200, $300, $400, $45. Really, $45. I cannot stress that enough. You can get this for $45. So anyways, I'll post the link to where you can purchase this, and for wholesalers, I'll post a link for UD so you can contact them, get in touch with them, and get yourself these in your shops, on your online stores, or wherever you want to get them. I have a feeling these are going to sell really well. I'm happy with it. I haven't really had too many complaints other than having the spring fail on me, but you know, 1 minute quick fix, just stretch the spring, put it back together again, and works flawlessly. So I'm Raylo from Raylo Vapes. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, vape on.